On this episode, we smoked the Brickhouse Bricktoberfest 2023 by J.C. Newman, 6x52 Toro with a pigtail cap. I'm Johnny Midas, and you're listening to Burnline Podcast. Burnline Podcast. The burn line on a well-crafted cigar is straight and sharp as a razor, much like our wit and wisdom. And what's up, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children, all ages over the age of 21. You're listening to Burnline Podcast, coming to you not live from the Hot Box, the smoky back room where deals are struck and fortunes are made, adjacent to the Blanco Cigar Lounge, nestled amongst the complex of rooms that comprise Union Cigar, Hanover, Pennsylvania, USA, the only Blanco Cigar Lounge in North America. I am one of your hosts, Johnny Midas.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm Nick the Brick.
The other host of this podcast, the best cigar podcast on the planet, uncommon cigar knowledge for the common man. And we've got a bit of a treat for you today. This is the Brickhouse Bricktoberfest 2023.
I'm excited for it, man. Let's jump right into it.
Yeah, and this is the sixth version of the Bricktoberfest.
Sixth iteration.
Sixth iteration.
Nice.
Yep. So this cigar, first of all, it comes in a 10-count box. It is 10 side-by-side cigars. Pretty cool looking stick and box. Got
the classic Brickhouse band.
Right, with the Bricktoberfest limited edition band underneath.
Secondary band, yep.
Yep. The box is, it's not a expensively constructed box, but it looks cool.
Yeah.
It says Bricktoberfest on it.
Nice.
Kind of looks autumny, to be honest with you.
Oh, great.
So the presentation is pretty cool, and it's super cool because this cigar, which is a 6x52 Toro, so decent amount of tobacco, the MSRP is $10. Right,
fantastic.
So Brickhouse is a highly approachable, affordable cigar, and the Bricktoberfest is a little bit more, maybe $1 or so than some of the other Brickhouses, but still, right at that $10 price point, pretty approachable.
Yeah, and for an LE, I mean, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah. So looks like a good price point, but the presentation is good. And then, so the wrapper, this is an Ecuadorian habano rosado wrapper, and it's pretty rosado.
Pretty freaking rosado, if you ask me.
Pretty freaking rosado. The pigtail cap is nice.
So I really want to talk about that.
Yeah.
So this is, I should go out there and get like a Chupacabra Toro from Esteban.
Like a real pigtail?
So, yeah. So there's like but I feel like I've seen like NBA players who have dreadlocks who have like the one hair.
Yeah.
That's like sticking up. This is what that reminds me of. It's not a pigtail.
It is just nub.
Yeah, it's just it's an extra column of tobacco sticking straight up in the air, and it's rigid.
It is. It's hard.
It's like pretty rigid, and
it looks like the stem of a pumpkin, which is kind of cool.
Wow.
Oktoberfest.
Oh my gosh, dude, you just unlocked the secret. That's
code.
Awesome. Yeah.
So yeah, it's not a pigtail.
I don't know what we can call it.
The kind that wraps around like a normal pigtail, but like the Behikes look like this. There's a few different cigars, like they twist the pigtail and snip it, and it just ends with a little pumpkin stem.
Yeah.
But it adds a kind of cool look. And these do come in cellophane sleeves within the box, which is great for protecting the cigars while they're on the shelf.
I don't know why it reminds me of Alfred Payton.
It does look like Alfred Payton.
Alfred Payton's an NBA player, and he has this just big hair. Oh, dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, definitely Alfred Payton.
Big, tall hair.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Anyway, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Binder and filler are Nicaraguan, and for some comparison, the wrapper last year was Nicaraguan.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it's a change up.
Yeah.
And of course, these are made in Newman's Pensa factory in Esteli. And they say that this is designed to be paired with Marzen-style beer, which is what they usually serve at like Oktoberfest festivals.
So is Marzen a brand?
No, it's a type of beer.
Is it like saying stout or sour?
Lager. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we don't have beer to pair with it.
Dang.
But that's what it's supposed to go with. So, and of course, as usual, buy 5 get a Stein. This year's Stein looks like a classic lager Stein. And these come in a 10-count box, so I guess if you buy a box, you get 2 Steins, which is exactly what I did.
Nice.
So I've got a couple of matching Brickhouse Stein glasses. So
when we do the resmoke of these, you'll have to keep 2 2023 editions set aside.
Oh yeah,
and then when we do the resmoke, we'll bring the Steins in with the Marzen.
Yeah, and we'll compare too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Year over year. Mm-hmm. So that is the cigar that we're smoking. Let's go ahead and get these smoked up. We will start with the official cutting, and you've got your Zycar X1 Double Guillotine Butterfly Cutter. The official cutting is brought to you by Fat Boy Cigars. The bold and delicious flavors of premium hand-selected tobacco leaves are highlighted in the original Jacked cigar by Fat Boy Cigars. And don't forget to try the Fat Boy Cigars Boots on the Ground series. For every cigar you purchase in this series, Fat Boy Cigars will donate $1 to charities benefiting our frontline heroes. Fat Boy Cigars, welcome to the Fat Boys world. And let's go ahead and clip that cigar with authority. Great clip there. No limp-wristed cutting allowed. And tapping out the dottle on the back of the hand. So, yeah, one of those, you introduced me to that.
Yeah.
And
sorry.
really improved the cigar smoking experience for me. Because that was the one, like, I wasn't paying attention. But that thing where you're, like, scraping the little fleck of tobacco off your tongue or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like, that goes away now.
It's almost like one of the things that you just did and dealt with.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was like, all right, I guess there's nothing I can do about this.
Right.
Because I used to blow on the cap.
Yeah, I do that.
And I used to like brush it off with my finger. But the packing it's different.
Yeah. No, for sure. And the bigger the ring gauge, the more important it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Just
a lot more loose tobacco.
Right.
All right, let's go ahead and get these toasted. Time for the official lighting. As always, we remind you, toasted, not roasted. And Nick has got his space shuttle engine over here. 3-flame, flat flame torch.
This is like the perfect gauge to use this lighter. I think the 52, like 50-52 is a really good gauge to use the triple flame lighter.
Especially when it comes to a point like that.
Yeah.
And I have got my single flat flame powered by the single jet Johnny Midas unofficial lighter from Rocky Patel.
I think the thing runs on gold, right? You don't put butane in there. You put.
I'd put gold dust in here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't think we talk about it enough, but I blow on the foot every time to make sure the cherry is satisfactory and the cigar is lit evenly. I think the number one way to have an uneven burn with your cigar is to light it improperly.
Yeah, I've got a story about that. A friend of a friend of a friend told me. Actually, I think I heard it on another podcast. Not that there are any, and you shouldn't listen to them. Only listen to this one. Yeah,
never heard of it.
But somebody was saying that they knew a guy in the industry who would grab one of his cigars and just light the corn on purpose because he said a properly
constructed cigar.
It will even itself out.
Yeah, I've heard that BS before.
Yeah, well, not something I want to take a chance on, but particularly when I'm dealing with a more affordable cigar, because there's a reason that they're more affordable. You have to make choices in your productization.
I was gonna say, man, that guy just wakes up and chooses violence.
Yeah,
that is just the violent way to do things.
Totally. So yeah, I mean, there's some cigars like I'll bet you I could do that with a Padron, and it would work every time. A $10 J.C. Newman, I'm not going to risk it.
Right.
So anyway, nice even burn on there and cherry.
Well, I think like we talk about too, like, man, some of the first light sometimes is so good, and you miss out on that if you're fighting the first inch and a half of the cigar trying to get it to fix itself. You miss out on that, all that good flavor and stuff like that. If you get a well-rounded light, those first few puffs are magical.
Yeah, just go ahead and take I think 45 seconds is probably like on the lower side of how much time I take to actually get my cigar going.
Yeah.
Is probably, not counting the cut and the tap. I mean, with the butane.
Yeah.
Probably 45 seconds.
Really interesting. We have a listener I'll give him a shout out. I'll call him Mr. VW. We'll call him codename Mr. VW because I don't know if he wants to be mentioned. But he was asking me about lighting the cigar and toasting it because he hears us talking about toasting it all the time. And he said that he uses a lot of butane when he toasts his cigar. And I said, that's perfectly fine.
That is correct.
Yeah.
You do use a lot of butane to toast a cigar.
Because you're not... Like, I mean, if you shoved your cigar in the lighter, right, you're going to use less butane. The flame's going to, be exposed to the cigar. But if you're barely using that flame, you're going to use a lot of butane. I have to refill my lighter 3-4 times a week.
Yep.
And
you have a big tank on yours.
If you're like a budget conscious, smoker and you can't really do that much butane, free matches are the best.
Yeah.
Or use your lighter to light a cedar strip.
Yeah.
Cedar strips, many shops will give them to you for free.
Yeah.
Many shops.
Yeah. Yeah, they come in the boxes, and a lot of cigars come with a little flat, 0.5 millimeter thick shaving of cedar, and you can just break it up. And so most shops have got tons of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great call out because it highlights what toasting is, which is I'm applying just enough heat that it starts to get red. I'm not catching it on fire. I'm not jamming the flame in there.
Right.
And there's a reason for that, which is that scorches the tobacco and just creates acrid smoke that lasts for the first at least quarter inch, in my experience.
If it goes away, you're lucky.
Yeah, like you have to sort of let the cigar sit, blow on the foot, let it burn off, all of this stuff. And it can last and last and last and last too. Like sometimes you can't overcome it. So, all right. So we have got a good cutting. We've got a good light on here, and we're going to go ahead and give some initial tasting notes. Which I've got some ideas here. But Nick, what's coming off of this Brickhouse Bricktoberfest 2023 6x52 Toro Ecuadorian Habano Rosado wrapper? Nicaraguan binder and filler.
I'm getting a little bit of sweetness for sure, which is really good. I'm getting sun-dried vegetables.
Oh yeah,
I'm being a little bit of a snob here.
Yeah, no, I can taste that for sure. That's a good one.
I think that there's a little bit of saltiness too. But overall, like really, really good flavors. Really appealing to my palate right now. Very, very good. We're having black coffee. Yeah, this is really good so far. Very well aged.
Yeah,
I believe.
Yeah, certainly seems like it. So, I would say if you took some pumpkin seeds, right? You roasted them in the oven with a little salt, not a lot. Just like you took a pinch of kosher flakes and tossed them in the air and waved the pan under it. And then you toasted the pumpkin seeds, but not till they're completely dry. There's still a little bit of that like raw vegetable in there. And you took that and you muddled it in a stone mortar and pestle with 1 acorn.
Wow.
And you muddled that around.
You have to do it outside though.
Outside
in the fall.
Yes, in the fall. It's got crisp fall nature weather flavor.
You're smelling the air while you're doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you put all that together, and then you just walked past the baking spice rack, and had a side thought about it. That's what it tastes like.
Yeah, that's pretty. It's so funny when I was describing it. I was thinking about pumpkin and pumpkin seeds because it does taste like the crisp, crunchy, salted pumpkin seed.
It's remarkably fall. Like
yeah.
They really kind of nailed the Bricktoberfest thing.
Or right, I'm always open to this possibility. Or they tricked us so well into believing that this is supposed to taste like fall.
Right.
Which is either way, I'm happy with it because like. I don't know. You can be like a Grinch and be like, "Oh, I hate this. I hate the fall. I hate the, everything."
It tastes like fucking smoke, you asshole.
Yeah. Or you can just be like, "Wow, like I'm gonna embrace this."
But the funny thing is, there's no indication that it's supposed to taste like fall. It's supposed to pair with a Marzen-style beer or a lager. If you're American, you can get lager pretty easily, you know. But it really does, to me, taste like a fall cigar.
No, I'm being so serious. Yeah. I don't know if it's the name Bricktoberfest or the...
I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is the pumpkin spice latte of cigars. Like, you know.
That's awesome.
Well, that is a pretty good experience. Now, my burn line is really good. Look at that. It's tight and narrow. I think, you know, you were talking about it tastes well-aged. It's burning like it's well-aged.
Yeah.
I mean,
very evenly.
Yeah.
Ash is pretty solid.
Yeah, the ash is good. I mean, I'll tell you what, so far, this is not smoking like a $10 cigar.
No.
You know?
We'll get there.
Yeah.
When we talk about price.
Yeah. And, of course, we mentioned the MSRP on this is $10, and most of the Brickhouse's MSRPs are just south of $10, so a bit more, but buy 5, get a free stein. And they come in a box of 10, so you can buy a box for $100, have 10 good smokes, and get 2 steins, share with a buddy. So kind of a good deal. So I feel like that extra $1 or whatever on the MSRP, you're paying for the stein.
Right.
For participating retailers.
Yeah.
So why don't we do some socials while we're looking at this? And we have got...
So you follow Fat Boy Cigars. Shout out Fat Boy Cigars.
Shout out to Fat Boy Cigars. Oh, yeah, follow them on the socials for sure.
Fat Boy Cigars on Insta. I'm not sure if they're on X.
I'm not sure. I know that I can't get used to that. Like, even in the news articles I read, it'll say, like, so-and-so posted on X, and then they'll put in parentheses, formerly Twitter. You know, I'm like, seriously, X? You went from Twitter to X?
Here's the thing. When it
Is
was
this, like, 21 plus? I mean, why is it called X?
When it was Twitter, when you would post, it was called a tweet.
Yeah.
Now that it's X, what is it called?
An X? I don't know.
I just X'd.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds perverted.
Yeah, it's a little. So we had some feedback on one of our episodes. Let's see if I can find this real fast. One fans have responded to your Q&A. View your responses.
Is the S in parentheses? One fans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a comment on episode 32, Padron, 1964 anniversary Maduro Principe.
It says, fuck you guys.
Timepieces part 1. That was cool. I mean, I know I'm a little biased here, but the timepieces were fucking awesome, man. All right, so here's the latest response is, man, I loved the watches. Maybe a part 2, ? Great comment. Yeah, I think we're going to have a part 2. I mean, we didn't even get to some of the... I mean, he's got a couple of collectibles in that collection.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Plus, we wanted to have... like, a local...
Yeah.
Watch
guys
guy
over from Garrick
on. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That'd be great. That'd be great. So I feel like it's a dying art.
Yeah.
Like watchmaking and pipe making. I feel like those two are kind of going the same way. Unfortunately, it's just kind of a classic trade that is not. Even the cobblers.
Oh,
right?
totally. I was thinking that. Like the handmade shoe that actually
Yeah.
fits your foot.
Right.
You know, which you can still get them,
Yeah.
but they're expensive and, you know,
Yeah.
you might have to drive a couple hours.
Right.
you know. And we also have a comment on episode 31, Fuente Fuente Opus X, hard to find in collectible cigars. It says, such a shame about Nick's cigar. Opus X is one of my faves. Loved the section on collectible cigars. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate the feedback. And we also have some other feedback from Amanda on Instagram. For Tobacconist Tip of the Week, can you talk about cracked caps?
Yeah.
What the hell do you do? So I think that is a great transition into our Tobacconist Tip of the Week. Nick, what have you got for us? And now your Tobacconist Tip of the Week with Nicholas McCann.
So I think we're going to do like kind of a joint tobacconist tip of the week this week. Because you had some you had some really insightful comments about how to do this, because I was thinking about this and I was like, well, you hope for the best, kind of. I think I'm going to let you. I'm hopefully not going to step on your toes. I'm going to let you say your piece, but you said I should mention that I always carry cigar glue with me, which I guess is unique about me.
Which is like a fruit pectin. It's almost the consistency of like Vaseline, isn't it? Harder or softer?
Simple syrup. Simple syrup.
Okay, so like Caro syrup.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
a little thicker maybe.
Yeah.
Like maple syrup.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
I think I could pour the bottle out and
it would pour out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think. But it is absolutely tasteless. I have, and obviously food safe. I've tasted it actually. There's a little brush that comes with it in the cap, and I've put it on my finger and tasted it, and it tastes like nothing. So yeah, I carry that with me in hopes that I can fix any potential issues like on the fly. But yeah, I liked what you had to say, so please.
Yeah. So my first comment would be prevention. Right. No, it doesn't help if your cap cracks, but you can prevent it. Number one, use a sharp cutter and clip that cigar with authority. Most of the cracked caps that I've seen on a properly humidified cigar are from a dull cutter, and it just squeezes and crushes. It can also be from timid, tentative clipping.
Right.
You know, we don't say clip that cigar with authority, you know, just as a soundbite. It's a real thing. Like, you got to clip it, snap.
Yeah.
You know, none of this like gently squeeze thing. But the other is properly humidified cigars, right? If it's not humidified, it's going to crack.
Which
also,
is, if you're going to the lounge, is out of your control.
Which, if you go to a lounge, is out of your control. Yeah. Okay, so what do you do if the cap cracks? Well, if you bought the cigar at a local tobacconist and you're smoking it in the lounge, you can ask for a replacement if it's a humidity problem. You can also ask for assistance in clipping your cigar. If you're commonly having this problem, it might be your technique or your cutter, right? Ask a local tobacconist to help you out with that. And then, okay, so you did your preventive measures. You can't replace the cigar, so you're stuck with a cracked cap. What do you do? So here's what I do is I gently lift the leaf where the crack is, and I lick the underside. I'm not folding it all the way back because it'll just snap off. If it's dry enough to crack, it's usually dry enough to do that. But
this is surgery.
This is surgery.
Yeah, you're doing full-on surgery.
Yeah, I will gently tongue it, and then, you know, moisten my lips, stick the cigar in there, and kind of roll it in the right direction to flatten that down, and apply quite a bit of spit around the outside. I mean, you know, not like gurgling, but, you know, getting it really moist, and I'm trying to reactivate the fruit pectin that held the cap on.
Yeah.
So I did this actually this week. I had a cigar that did that.
Well, the getting it kind of a little bit wet is going to also reinvigorate the elasticity of the tobacco.
Yeah.
And it'll reduce. You know what? Sorry, I just had a freaking eureka.
Yeah.
So people who use their own cutter and not a lounge cutter, but put the cigar in their mouth before they cut the cigar.
Don't do that.
If you use your own cutter, you can do it.
Here's why I say don't do that.
Go ahead.
It's going to clip worse if you slobber all over it.
You think so?
Well, I mean, if it's a dry cigar, it'll cut better if you get it a little moist.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
at least the wrapper part will.
Yeah.
But if it's properly humidified and you get slobber on it, it's going to cut worse, in my experience.
Well, because then it'll constrict it'll squish with the cutter and not snap
not
cut.
slice. Yeah. Yep.
I'm sorry. So this week you were saying about I think an experience you had.
Yeah, I actually had this exact experience, and I used this method, right, which is why it's so fresh on my mind. But, you know, you have to get some moisture under that leaf and then over the top. And, you know, I kind of spin it a little bit and hold it in moist lips until, you know, that moisture kind of soaks in a little bit. Now, here's what gets tricky is at the same time, you have to avoid getting spit on the end that's clipped that you're going to draw tobacco smoke out of, because you're going to have a terrible experience, tar buildup, all of that, if you get spit in the end. So it's just the outside. And again, I'm not talking about like gargling with spit. I just mean there has to be some moisture there, which, I have to sort of emphasize because you tend to dry out your mouth and lips when you're smoking a cigar.
Yeah. We're gonna put a mouth cam in Johnny Midas's mouth.
While
he fixes
post that on YouTube.
Yeah. Fixes a cracked cigar.
Yeah.
You can do a demonstration.
Yeah. So that's the best technique that I've come up with. And then at the, after that, you have to be careful because it will make the cigar sticky, and it can stick to your lip. And as soon as you take the cigar out of your mouth,
that leaf pulls
right off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Been there.
Yep.
And then you're looking like a weirdo because you just bit a piece of your cigar off, right?
Yeah.
It's all over your, you don't know if you got it in your teeth now or your.
Well, and then on top of that, so afterwards, it's still not perfect. You may have to put the cigar a little farther in your mouth. The effect on your cigar smoking with that crack is you're drawing oxygen, like just air in along with the smoke.
Right.
And it really dilutes things, right? It can also feel weird, and sometimes you'll get a little sucking noise.
Yeah.
And that's just annoying.
Right. Because with a properly rolled cigar, it's a closed chamber.
Yeah.
From the ember to the point where the smoke comes out at the cap. But if you have little holes in it, right, it's gonna leak out there, and it's gonna ruin the back pressure, which we talk about a lot.
Yeah.
The draw pressure.
Yeah.
And it'll just smoke output will be different. Burn will be
really different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it'll affect the burn.
Did you talk about moving the band?
Oh yeah. So if you can slide the band closer to the cap, and that'll sort of hold the cigar together, keep it from unraveling. You got to be really careful with that, depending on the company, the amount of glue they have, how big the band. Like, you can't really do it with a Camacho because it's such a huge band.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of brands you can't do it with a Padron because that inner band is on there so tight, and it is glued down. Like, just taking that band off is a challenge. Sliding it is probably a non-starter. But that's something you can do as well. And I've done that even with, damage to my wrapper that's not at the cap. I'll slide the band over it.
Yeah.
And it holds it together.
Plug that hole.
Plugs the hole.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think if you have a cap that cracks, and you decide you're going to mess with it, either assume that you're going to make it worse, or be very confident that you're satisfied with what you're gonna do to it. So whether it's like pulling the leaves closer together, or like you said, kind of sticking the loose tobacco down.
Yeah.
Like be warned that you might make it worse.
Yeah.
So like if you don't want to make it worse, just don't mess with it and just deal with it.
And of course, the ultimate backup plan is get a new stick.
Yeah.
So you may have to. So. Amanda, really thanks for that. That was a great question there. And we just want to remind you guys, this is your show. If you want to have input, you can email us, burnlinepodcast@gmail.com. We're too cheap to have our own domain name, so it's at gmail.com. Also, of course, you can follow us on all the social medias. You got Insta, Twitter/X, Threads. Not on Facebook because we're not fucking that old. But reach out and comments. Please like and subscribe on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast. You can also answer the Q&A on each episode. Thanks to Odin's Blood and others who have done that on our show. That gives us direction to help serve you better with the podcast. And with that, it is time for a break. Don't go anywhere. Keep your dial locked in to Burnline Podcast, uncommon cigar knowledge for the common cigar smoker. And we are back. You are listening to the dulcet tones of Johnny Midas and Nick the Brick McCann on Burnline Podcast. All right, so let's touch back on this cigar. We are smoking the Brickhouse Bricktoberfest 2023 by J.C. Newman. This is a 6x52 Toro with an Ecuadorian habano rosado wrapper. And, man, I got to tell you, I'm impressed with this cigar.
Yeah, 100%.
First of all, the flavor's great. The back pressure is perfect. The smoke output is good. You know, it's got a good mouthful of smoke. It's not a smoke bomb.
No.
But a good mouthful of smoke. I'd say the smoke is pretty neutral. You know, it's not light. It's not heavy. It's not chewy. It's just there.
Yeah.
Real solid showing. Love the flavor, though.
Yeah, the smoke is very flavorful.
And I would describe this as like mid, maybe on the lighter side, but mid body, probably lighter on strength. I think doesn't seem to be super strong.
Yeah, this is one you can smoke and have a couple beers with, and
and not get knocked on your ass.
Right.
I think you could smoke this before breakfast.
Yeah,
a lot of use case.
100%.
And the affordability, man, like
really good.
Yeah, I'm not worried about like raking the leaves while smoking this and dropping the cigar in the leaf pile. I mean, other than the combustibility, starting yard fires.
Right.
But it is affordable enough that I'm not too worried about that sort of thing.
Yeah. This is like a party cigar.
Yeah, it kind of is.
You know, it's like a get together for your fall gathering and or whatever festival you go to and you know, hang out outside, have a Brickhouse Bricktoberfest, right? Get in the spirit of it and
it doesn't matter if you have an empty or full stomach.
Yeah,
if you're drinking or what have you. It seems like it plays along. But look at that ash on your cigar, man. Like that is really, you got like what, an inch there?
Yeah, I just took a picture and it's not flaky at all.
No, that is a really nice ash.
Yeah, it's super sturdy. It's probably reaching its tipping point soon, but yeah, it's I have this weird like fixation with not ashing my cigar.
Yeah, I noticed.
I never ash my cigar.
It ends up in your lap.
Yeah, all the time. And it's a risk. It's a risk that I accept.
I just ashed all over the bottom of my microphone. But especially when it's a beautiful ash, right. If it's an ugly ash, I'll roll it off.
Get it off.
Oh, we got to do that for our next TTOW.
A long ash?
No, how to ash.
Oh,
I couldn't believe not only how many people don't know how to ash their cigar, but like people I've had on this podcast, like I'm watching them and I'm like, this is not a cigarette.
Yeah.
Like you just lost half your cherry.
We could do it in a 3-second reel, I think, on Instagram. I could show you how to do it.
Yeah, we should do that.
Do it right now.
Totally do that. Yeah, let's do it right now. Folks don't mind. All of you folks listening at home, we're just doing a quick blah blah. All right, how do I use this social media thing? Do I go to Instagram or do I use my camera?
Go to Instagram.
Okay, so I'm going to Instagram. Okay, and now I hit the plus button.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what?
Reels, I think. Is there Reels?
Yeah, reel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, camera.
Yep.
Okay, and then... and now I can just record.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me flip the camera. Man, this is so cool. This is why I have a kid on the show. Okay, so all you're going to do is take the cigar, lay it on the side, and roll it.
No, this is what I'm going to do.
No, don't do that.
Why?
Because that's the wrong way.
No, it's not.
Yeah, no, this is how you ash a cigar.
There are two ways. Go ahead. You do yours.
Okay. Well, there's not enough to roll. But that's how you do it. You just put it against the side.
Yeah. This is how I do it.
All right, hold on. Start over. Okay.
Ready?
Yep. Oh, that's terrible.
Ta-da!
Oh, my God.
That's terrible. Are you kidding? That was the easiest thing ever.
It's not a fucking cigarette. Wow. Okay, so it sounds like we...
Dude, cigarette... Yeah, have you ever watched a cigarette smoker ash? They're like...
Yeah, okay, you're making me really uncomfortable. Don't treat your cigar like that.
I know. I was being very rough with it there. But that's how cigarette smokers are with their cigarettes. Like,
I don't know, because I don't hang out with a lot of smokers, like cigarette smokers.
Did you ever smoke cigarettes?
No.
No?
Can't stand them.
I'll get you. Can we do it for like a week? We'll get into the habit.
No. I can smell them from 100 yards away.
Oh, yeah.
And it just makes me sick to my stomach.
Cigarettes are not for this show. We're not going to talk about cigarettes on this show.
No. So, yeah, let's do that. We'll do tobacconist tip of the week on ashing your cigar next week. That is a really fucking cool ash, though.
That's why you do it my way.
See if you can pick it up.
Oh, that is so solid.
Dude, it's not even like... It's completely holding its shape. You're even rolling the ash in your fingers, and it's just sprinkling. Wow. And then you dropped it from 8 inches, and it just landed in a solid piece.
70% of it's still intact.
That is amazing. So I will credit some of this, though. You probably noticed that this is a perfectly humidified cigar. Mm-hmm. Like 62.5% maybe. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's right there. I have found, sometimes I have to actually dry out my cigars.
I was going to say, I could go a little drier with this.
Yeah.
The first thing I do every time I pick up a cigar is squeeze it a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's like such a good bad habit.
No, but a lot of the humidors I go to, they're actually over humidified.
For fear of
drying out.
Yeah, for fear of having them under humidified.
I mean, I've had cigars, like I'll buy them and then like I'll take one out, and set it on, especially if it's in cello, because that retains some of the moisture.
Yeah.
But I'll like sit it out on my sideboard overnight to smoke in the morning, and it's like perfect.
Yeah, I think I did a tobacconist tip one time on dry boxing.
Oh yeah, you did.
Where it's like if it's over humidified, kind of surrounded in a cedar box or just a regular cigar box, but that leaving it out overnight's equally as good.
Yeah. Or if you're on a fast timetable, put it in the fridge because your fridge is a dehumidifier.
Yeah, but don't do anything quickly in the cigar world.
Yeah, that's fair.
Take your time. But if you're on a fast timetable, put it in the fridge.
And then let it rise to room temperature before you try to light it.
yeah.
Pop that wrapper.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's talk a little bit about annual release cigars. So this Bricktoberfest is an annual release, and we are distinguishing between cigars that are released annually, like in a series, but they're different from year to year.
Yeah, different blends, yep.
Versus, like, we mentioned the Fuente Añejo is released, like, around Christmas time every year, and it sells out so fast, right?
This is a conversation I had with someone a while ago in the industry about the difference between limited edition and limited release.
Yeah.
And so, like, for the purposes of this discussion, we could talk about a different blend every year being limited edition, and then a seasonal or...
We're making 500 boxes every year. When they sell out, they're gone.
Limited release.
That's limited release, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we're talking about limited edition, where it has the same, like, branding every year, but it's a different cigar.
Right.
And the Bricktoberfest is one of those. So last year it was a Nicaraguan puro, I believe. I know it had a Nicaraguan wrapper, and this year it's an Ecuadorian habano rosado. Great wrapper, by the way.
Really, really good.
So it's different. The good thing about limited edition cigars is they're highly collectible. Like, most of them are affordable. They're not expensive, but you can collect them. And, instead of buying one, you buy two, put one in the humidor. Next thing you know, you got a whole series.
Well, talk about it from the consumer's perspective too, because like you can only have, and no disrespect to any of the brands that I'm about to mention, but you can only, if you see the a Romeo 1875 on the shelf 365 days out of the year at your brick and mortar, right? It's going to get less exciting every time.
Sure, yeah.
Even if it's your favorite cigar, right? It's just not like I think the fast-paced capitalistic society that we live in, we're always looking for the new thing.
Yeah, it's like fast fashion for cigars.
Right.
Yeah.
And so from the consumer's perspective, it's like a rush.
Grabs your attention.
Yeah.
Totally.
I get it a lot.
Yeah.
And then from the retailer side, it's a good way to mix things up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you're not committing to a facing, like a permanent facing on your shelf for the rest of forever.
Right.
Where it's like, oh yeah, we were able to get 3 boxes, and then that's a selling point.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, get these while they're here.
Yeah.
You might miss out.
Yep.
And people jump on that.
So here are some annual release cigars, some limited edition versus limited release that you could consider. The first is Year of the. I'm just leaving it there because fucking everybody's doing this now.
Year of the Chinese Zodiac.
Yeah, Year of the Chinese Zodiac.
Yep.
So Davidoff is probably famous. I think, didn't they start it?
I believe so.
I think they started it.
Yeah.
Of course, these are less affordable, obviously. But
This
you can collect
this is the 1,000 boxes of 10
yeah,
type.
yeah.
And 600 went to the European market and 400 came to
yeah, absolutely. And they run like $30, right?
Generally, yeah.
More than 20 for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the Placencia Year of the Rabbit this year was upwards of 50.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the next one. Placencia does Year of the as well.
Right.
Also expensive. Both of those are expensive brands. But if you want to collect them, they're different every year, and you can slowly collect the entire Zodiac. Drew Estate, right? They do the same. Those are more affordable, more approachable. And it slips my mind, but there's one or two or three other brands that also do it.
The Drew Estate Year of the Rat Story, which is a regular production cigar for the Unico series now, is actually a really interesting story that has to do with the Florida Panthers, but the hockey team. But I guess I'll save that for another
Why
time.
Why save it? Why save it?
All right. So I might butcher a little bit of the story, but this is how I remember reading about it. So in like 1997, there was a guy on the Panthers team who was a goal scorer. The Panthers were having a good season, and there was a Drew Estate outpost at the arena, and for some reason, like, this guy scored a hat trick, and then someone said like a rat trick, and so like they started throwing like toy rats on the ice,
Right.
and so it became like a like rallying cry for the team the whole year, and they won the cup that year. And so, like, long story short, Drew Estate was like, this is the year of the rat. And they made it after like that season.
Was it actually the Year of the Rat in the Chinese Zodiac?
So I can't remember.
That would be really ironic if
I
they
know.
made a Year of the Rat and
I know.
really Year of the Monkey or something.
But they like this guy. They called this guy like the Rat King or something like that, and he was just he was every time he got a hat trick, they called it a rat trick.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's the year of and there's a bunch of them to choose from. The Tatuaje Monster series. So they have the Face Redux this year.
Yeah.
I have a few of those. I've got like the Frankenstein.
Yep. Frank.
Yeah, I've got one or two others. I've got the Face.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember the other one that I've got.
They're super creative with the names.
Yeah, the
There's like a
names
Jekyll
are,
and a Hyde.
Yeah. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jekyll and Hyde.
Face, Frank, Jekyll, Hyde, and then there's a Freddy one.
Yeah.
But I forget what they call it.
Yeah. But those are annually. They're all different. And this is like a step down in price. Still, I think steep, but probably like 15, something like that, 17.
Especially with the Redux. The Redux is a good indicator that it's a different thing. So Face was released originally, right, a couple years ago. This year they're doing the Face Redux, so he redid the blend. Right. So it's based on tobacco availability or the itch that he got, right, to just remake the cigar. But having Redux there is indicative that it's, at least this edition is a different one. But they also might release the Face OG.
Right.
So that's still a possibility, but the Redux part is about, redoing the blend.
Yep. Of course, you have the Bricktoberfest, which we're smoking now, and this is the 6th version of it. So if you wanted to collect those on the secondhand market, you can have up to 6 of these, as well as the Stein. So last year they had a boot.
Nice.
And Das Boot. It kind of sucked because it's just hard to drink out of. But it's like a cool collectible, So if you're into cigar adjacent collectibles, that's a kind of cool one to.
Which there are
pick
not
up.
a whole lot of glasses and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about like swag,
Yeah.
The companies put out, there's a ton of ball caps.
Right.
There's a ton of ashtrays,
Yep.
signs, tin signs, stuff like that.
Cutters, lighters.
Cutters, lighters.
But to have that cigar cup or that cigar.
cigar branded
Yeah.
thing.
That's cool.
It's pretty cool. There's the Las Calaveras. Those have been around for, what are we on, 12? or
Yeah.
15 or something?
Yeah.
Those have been around for a while, so if you wanted to collect those, Now, some of the older ones are actually getting kind of steep on the secondhand market. You know, the kind of off-the-shelf price for the Las Calaveras this year is, depending on the Vitola, like 12 to 15, right?
It's the wild, wild west out there for that resale.
Yeah, the resale is wild, wild west. And then, of course, you have the Avo Seasons. I like
awesome.
Avo cigars.
So good.
Yeah, I really like all of Avo's stuff. And that's distributed by Davidoff, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Avo's a Davidoff brand. So and there's others, but this is a handful of limited edition cigars that are released annually. If you're into like collecting and you want that, you know, kind of like collecting all of the Ninja Turtles when you were a kid or something, you know, this is right up your alley. And most of these are, you know, fairly approachable in terms of price and availability. And, you know, it's one cigar a year. So, you know, maybe you can't afford a Davidoff frequently, but you can probably budget for once a year picking up their year up, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or same with Plasencia.
Right.
I mean, $45 just sounds incredibly expensive for a cigar. You know, for a new one off the shelf, you know, not secondhand market.
Right.
But, you know, if it's once a year,
Yeah.
But you got to double the price, though, because you got to buy two. Right? You got to smoke one and save one.
I was going to say, man, like, quintessential collector's tip is like buy more than one.
Yeah.
Like in case you like get an itch to smoke it, or like you feel so inclined to give one of them as a gift to someone that you really care about. Like you want to have a second one on hand just in case.
Yeah, like the bottle of 11-year Lagavulin that I've got in my whiskey cabinet. You know, the what edition is it? It's got the guy's name on it or whatever. But yeah, like I'd killed that bottle. You know?
You have a second one?
No, I don't.
Oh, dude.
I can buy a second one.
Yeah.
But it was just a great example of like, no, if you want to collect it, dude, you better have two.
Or like sneakerheads. They'll buy two pairs, one to wear and one to just keep in the box.
Well, because especially once you start drinking it. Now, this is an Islay Scotch and really good. You know what? I should bring some in. We should pair it. I got to think of a cigar it pairs with.
Wait, I thought you were out of it.
I am out of it.
Did you just convince yourself to buy more?
I did.
Okay. All right.
Also, I found this incredible whiskey store. What is it? Is it Easton down south in Maryland? Easton, Maryland?
Are you talking about Pine Orchard?
No, but there is a liquor store down there, and I think it's called Airport Liquors.
Okay. Easton is a place in Maryland.
Yeah. It's down by Easton because I was looking at my maps.
It's close to the bay, the Chesapeake Bay.
It is.
Yeah.
Because we have a truck route that goes down there and goes across the bridge in Maryland. Yeah. Where what is that? Annapolis. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was right there. It was because we've got a customer across the bridge, and it's got an airplane outside, which caught my eye.
That's pretty cool.
And I went in, and you know, I'm giving away my big secret here, but I could not believe what they had in the store. They had Sellers Reserve makers.
You're not going to gatekeep this this location.
Now they sold it before I got there, but they actually had Cellar Reserve makers. Those are going for $700 on the secondhand market. Just came out.
Sheesh.
Highly limited.
Sheesh. And it's like I don't know how the buying power works with the state of Pennsylvania that we're in, being that the liquor stores are state stores, right? So I don't know like what kind of purchasing power they have, or like, you know, there's I have a lot of creative freedom here,
right?
With kind of like the privatized budget that I have to kind of pick and choose what I want to get.
Yeah.
But like I feel like the privatized liquor stores can like go all in on a limited editions bottle or something like that if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Whereas like the state stores probably, all right, we're gonna get one bottle each. Like,
so I'm gonna
that's how the state store works.
I'm gonna tell you and our audience a secret about Johnny Midas, right?
Okay.
So that you know where my biases are. I collect Lagavulin whiskey exclusively, but I like Islay Scotch, which has like that iodine flavor.
Nice.
My wife says it tastes like medicine. Can't stand it.
Iodine's good for you.
Yeah, it is. But that's just my palate. I like bitter stuff. I'm not big on sweet. That's why I'm not a big bourbon drinker.
So is that a Lowlands or Highlands? Or
It's
is it
an Islay.
neither?
It's an Islay. So you have Highlands, Lowlands, and Islay.
Oh,
And they're
okay.
different.
Okay.
Okay, so Highlands is, you know, the fruity flavors. The Lowlands is really peaty and earthy, and Islay is like iodine, ocean spray kind of flavors.
Like coastal.
Like La Frogue,
Yeah.
that flavor.
La Frogue.
La Frogue. Yeah.
Isn't it? Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
La Frogue. Depends on what part of the, what side of the Atlantic you're on. And I collect Fuente cigars. So just a little secret to me, Fuente is the holy grail cigar. I love them. Love all of them. They're right in my wheelhouse. So don't tell anybody I told you that because I don't want anyone to think I'm biased on the show.
Yeah.
But that's just me. So I'm a collector.
So you watched my Opus 2 weeks ago.
And I was dying.
Punch me in the face.
I was.
And you were like,
inside.
"Oh, I give it an 8."
Well, I would have given it a 12.
Yeah, I know.
But I had to take points off. Yeah. I mean, there was some bias there. But that's different. These are two brands that I like, and they happen to pair well together to me. But if you are a collector and you like variety, man, like annual release seasonal cigars are a great way to get some variety. And
Well, Fuente does it kind of seasonally with the Anejos and the Opus. There's kind of a pattern to when they release it.
Seasonal release.
Yeah.
But unless they're introducing a new blend, it's always the same cigar.
Right.
Yeah.
But there are hundreds more of these that we are not. I am not remembering. A lot of companies have advent calendars now too.
Oh yeah,
Most of them on Christmas time.
Yeah. I want to own every blend that Fuente's ever produced. That's my goal. By the time I'm done with this hobby,
You better hurry up.
hurry up and get rich.
Yeah.
Richer.
Every day. I mean, every day we kind of are advancing forward. Like I guess because there's. Wait. What about like first gen Opus?
Well, so I mean, it's a real like. To me, that's an internal struggle because it's like if you get an Opus now, is it the same? And the answer is no.
No.
But I can't get one from every year, without selling my Ferrari. So, I feel like that is straight out,
I had the opportunity to buy.
What is this noise in the background? Rookie move. This ice maker over here.
We have to operate our business at a 100% capacity even while we're recording the show. So
Absolutely. Mistake free. We handle all of our mistakes with precision.
I had the opportunity to buy an original. I think it was 1993 Opus.
Really?
There was a full box presented to me.
Seriously?
$100 a cigar.
Where's mine?
So this
Yeah,
was like
$100 a stick sounds about right.
I was like 2 weeks into the hobby.
Wow.
Yeah,
And you passed.
of course.
Oh.
I had. Well, I was all right. So I was with Francis.
And you're like, there's no cigar in the fucking world that's worth $100.
Yeah, I was like, shit. You got any acids?
Yeah, right, yeah.
No, I didn't. I did not start smoking acids. I started smoking non-flavored cigars. But yeah, he passed up on it too. But it was like thinking back on it now, yeah, I just sold my leg for that
Right.
box, man.
Yeah, I bought the box. I just straight up bought the whole box. Yeah. Do you have any cigar news this week?
I think the only thing that I have.
Well, hold on. So you do have cigar news?
There's one thing.
Okay, so it's time for our cigar news of the week with Nicholas McCann. Take it away, Nick. Dun, 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 dun.
My cigar news of the week this week comes out of the United Kingdom. And this is pretty freaking funny. It's not that funny. This is really serious, actually. But the UK just proposed a bill to ban the sale of tobacco for those born after 2008.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Jesus Christ. What is wrong with those idiots?
New Zealand's done it already. I think New
Oh,
Zealand.
yeah. I read an article about like how hard that's hitting the Maori population because they have a heavy smoking population and no resources to quit. And it's like, well, this isn't fair.
Yeah.
You're just going to create a black market.
New Zealand, I think, is for folks born after 2004.
Yeah.
I believe, just off the top of my head, I'm guessing here, guys. But
Well, to me, it's absolutely crazy because, one, we know from history that bans don't work. But the other thing is, like, when you're taking away people's freedom to consume, of course, obviously, that would never fly in the U.S., hopefully, fingers crossed.
right.
We do have a Bill of Rights or whatever, but, when you're taking away people's choice to consume because it's bad for them and bad for others, if you're talking about cigarettes, the whole secondhand smoke thing, all of that, like, where do you draw the line on that?
Yeah.
Right? It's more than a slippery slope argument. It has to do with I'm mortal. I only have this life.
Sure.
If this is what brings me enjoyment, who are you to tell me I can't?
Right.
It's like horses. We used to all travel to work on horses, and then they came out with cars. Horses can't travel on the road anymore.
Yeah.
But nobody's saying, you can't have a horse. Look how dangerous they are. You're going to get hit by a car. You're going to slow traffic. No, you might have to go to a paddock, in a special place to ride your horse, but you can still have one and ride it, right?
Yeah.
So, like, some controls, like, okay, you can't smoke in restaurants. Sure, all of that makes sense. But if you start banning it, I mean, that's just antithetical to the human
this
experience.
is talking about banning the sale of tobacco to anyone born after 2008.
Right. And now, have you banned marijuana? That's secondhand smoke, too.
No, actually, it's
Right?
on its way to legalization.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you have you're at best hypocritical. All right, well, that was some shitty news. Thanks for sharing that, Nick.
I'm just, I think it's just been such a, especially because in this job that I'm doing right now, and the type of person that I am, like, I've looked into the history of tobacco usage, and it is so ingrained and intertwined into humanity.
Oh, yeah,
Ever
absolutely.
since the first people came to this continent that we're on.
Of course, there's a workaround on this continent. I can just dig up the Native American past in my family tree, and since it's like a sacred
Religious?
plant, like now I have a carve out.
Yeah, smoking for religious values.
Yeah,
or whatever,
absolutely.
I
Totally.
need to channel my aura to the gods.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they thought, is that they thought the smoke would rise to the gods.
Bring
right?
their
And this
prayers.
and that's why they did like crop sacrifices, right? They would burn things in Greek culture.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the BCs and the ADs, BCs and ADs.
The BCs and the ADs.
So yeah, it's
I
just
prefer BCE and CE, but whatever.
before Common Era, after Common Era.
Common Era and before Common Era.
That's what I just said.
No, you said after Common Era
Yeah, before Common Era.
and Common Era, not before Common Era and after Common Era. After Common
I
Era
gotcha,
would be
gotcha.
like the future.
In the future. Yeah, I gotcha.
After the second coming, we'll have AC. All right. Well, appreciate that cigar news. It is time for a break. When we come back, we will rank this cigar. Brickhouse Bricktoberfest 2023. JC Newman. Don't go away. Hello, friends. Johnny Midas here, talking to you about what I am smoking this week. And this week, I wanted to talk to you about collectible cigars and seasonal special limited edition releases like we talk about on this show. If you want to collect cigars, there are some great options out there. And I wanted to talk to you about what I'm smoking this week, which is Fat Boy Cigars Boots on the Ground series. So you've probably heard Fat Boy Cigars advertised on this show. We also smoked the original Jack on the show. Great cigar, punches way above its weight. And I wanted to introduce you to the Fat Boy Cigars Boots on the Ground series. So the Boots on the Ground series is limited edition release cigars that celebrate our frontline heroes. Boots on the Ground series represents the thin line that these men and women stand on and cross when needed to keep the public out of harm's way. There is the Boots on the Ground thin red line, celebrating firefighters. This is a 6.5 by 56 Maduro. There is the Boots on the Ground thin blue line, a 6.5 by 56 Connecticut. There is the Boots on the Ground thin green line, which is a 5.5 by 54 Candela Bejique. And my favorite, which I'm smoking this week, the Boots on the Ground thin gold line, which is a 5.5 by 54 Maduro. This cigar retails for $7. That is a lot of tobacco, and I can personally attest, this is a delicious cigar. They could sell this for twice as much, and it would easily be competitive. So if you want to collect some of these limited edition cigars, these seasonal releases that we talk about on the show today, why don't you head on over to fatboyscigars.com and check out their Boots on the Ground series. For every cigar that you purchase in this series, which, by the way, all of them are $7 or $8 a stick, very affordable. But for each one that you purchase, Fat Boy Cigars donates $1 to charities benefiting frontline heroes. So, for example, if you select the Boots on the Ground thin green line, which is a 5.5 by 54 Candela, absolutely delicious and doesn't smoke like your traditional Candela, $7 for a 5.5 by 54, they will donate $1 to Wounded Warriors. So it's a chance to not only beef up your cigar collection with some limited edition cigars, but also to contribute to some really good causes. So why don't you head on over to fatboyscigars.com, check out the Boots on the Ground series, let us know what you think. Onlinepodcast@gmail.com. And we are back on Burnline Podcast. Johnny Midas, Nick the Brick McCann. And Nick, it looks like you've got another inch and a quarter inch ash on that cigar. Looking beautiful.
Doing really, really well.
I'm in my final third. Feel like I have a good experience for ranking this cigar. So just to review, this is the Brickhouse Bricktoberfest 2023 by J.C. Newman. This is a 6x52 Toro that retails for $10. Well, that's the MSRP. You're going to pay something in that range depending on taxes in your state, etc. This is made at Newman's factory in Esteli. It has an Ecuadorian habano rosado wrapper, which I really like. It's good looking wrapper. Tastes good too.
It does.
Nicaraguan binder and filler. This is designed to be paired with beer, which I just dropped the ball there. I didn't bring beer. They say it's designed to be paired with Marzen style beer, like they often serve it. Oktoberfest. So that's like that, like, I always thought it was a lager, but it's like that pale yellow beer with like the really big head on it, you know, that you get in the giant, that comes in pints.
Yeah, right.
You know,
yeah.
And it for select retailers that are participating in the program, buy 5, get a Stein. So 10 count box, $100. You can get 2 Steins, kind of add to your cigar paraphernalia collectability stash.
Yeah.
And this is the 6th version of the Bricktoberfest. So we mentioned if you like collecting stuff, you might start with, I mean, it's super affordable. You know, Brickhouse is a affordable, approachable cigar, right?
For sure.
So I think, why don't we wrap up with some tasting notes and then go ahead and rank this. Let me take a couple of puffs. Nick, what have you got on flavor?
Ooh, that was smoky. Like a charcoaly, bonfire-y kind of taste I just got. Mm-hmm. And I think in the first third, it was definitely what we described earlier as a kind of like, I don't know. The first third was like sweet autumn vibes. Mm-hmm. Super, I'm being very Gen Z right now. But yeah, the first third was awesome. And then it's kind of progressed into like a smokier.
Yes.
It's gotten a smokier flavor, a fall barbecue or a fall campfire, bonfire kind of thing. It's got that going on right now for me. So,
yeah, for me as well. I wouldn't describe it as a charcoal fire, but as like a wood fire, like a bonfire you might make. Definitely some more like oaky notes coming out now, but definitely a char flavor, which is kind of cool. Yeah, I like that. And there's still like these hints of like autumn weather. Yeah, to the flavor. Like,
they fucking encapsulated the weather into this cigar.
Yeah, like it's kind of cool. Yeah, how did they do that, man? Speaking of praying to the gods,
yeah, some Back to the Future type.
Yeah. So, all right, let's go ahead and rank this cigar. J.C. Newman, Brickhouse Bricktoberfest 2023 6x52 Toro with the pigtail cap. It's not a pigtail, but the
Alfred Payton
pumpkin stem cap.
Yeah, that's right.
So presentation, Nick, what have you got for presentation?
Cool. But I think generally underwhelming. Mm-hmm. But I guess also cost effective.
Yeah.
I'm like torn. Like I think you could like charge $12 for this cigar and change the color on the band to like fall, autumn, orange.
Yeah, they just use the Brickhouse band and add a secondary band.
Yeah. Give me some more pumpkin spice, please.
All right.
So 7.
7 on presentation. I've got a 7 as well for presentation. Yeah, I mean, the box is nice, but cheap. The bands are nice, but cheap. That's all good, I guess. You know, it keeps the consumer cost down. But I agree with you. Like, you know, they could have put a little more thought into the branding. You know, the box has got that, like, dark, it almost looks like wood planks finish to it, and then it says like Brickhouse, and you know, really similar to their other products.
Yeah,
they could have made it stand out a little bit.
I think so.
All right, so at an MSRP of $10, what do you think about the price?
Yeah, a knockout. I think for the cigar and the promotion that participating retailers can run, this is a 9. I mean, this is an incredible value, I think, for a really good sized cigar with really good flavor and really good construction.
Yeah, we're about to get to that. I had an 8 for price. I agree with what you're saying there. This smokes really, really well for a $10 price point. I mean, it just does. The flavor is great. The construction was great. The smoke output is good. The back pressure is right. Construction, flavor, all of that. So, well done. For $10, you're getting more than your money's worth, I think.
Yep.
So, tell me about construction.
I think my draw was a little too open, so I'm gonna give it a 9. But it burned
a 9.
Yeah,
That's okay. That seems high.
High for construction.
Yeah, I mean, you just said that the draw was too open.
Yeah, that's the reason it's not a 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why. It burned perfectly. Smoke output was good. I really have no complaints. The ash was really solid. I just wish there was a little more back pressure. That's all.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So construction for me, the wrapper was done correctly. The cap was done correctly. You can see I've got this little tiny sliver of cap around the edge. Didn't come loose. I always look for that. No air bubbles or something around the cap. Great construction. The way that it burned, I mean, some of that has to do with like the aging and stuff, but some of it has to do with it's just a really well constructed cigar. And I'm down to the bottom third, and you can see I'm starting to flake out a little bit. You know, I've got a little bit of tobacco coming off here. I'm like showing the cigar to Nick and pointing, like y'all can hear that over the air. But you can see a little bit of separation there, and the burn line has turned uneven. So I've got an 8 on construction. Really well constructed cigar, far better than I would expect from a $10 price point. I can tell you that.
100%.
So, moving on to flavor. Nick, what are your thoughts there?
I wish that it was fuller flavor.
Mm-hmm.
So the flavor was good, but the flavor was kind of light.
Yeah. This is on the mild side of mid, I think.
Yeah. And so we got all the flavors that we talked about, but they were
soft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They glided. They didn't slam into the right. And there's the inverse of that, right? The vice is way too strong.
Sure. Yeah.
I just wish this would be a little more, because the flavors are really good.
Yeah.
I wish they would be a little more loud.
And I think I would like a little more strength in it, because I do think that like it's designed to be paired with beer, and maybe it pairs really well, but I can imagine like it's clashing, not clashing is the wrong word, but it's being drowned out by my coffee.
Yes.
Right. It's light enough that pairing it with stuff, I can see it just killing the cigar.
Right.
Now you think about a light lager beer, maybe that's totally different.
Yeah.
But I can imagine, like smoking this with a root beer and tasting root beer.
Yeah.
Like
I'm torn between a 7 and an 8. I have a favorable opinion of the cigar. I'll give it an 8.
Okay, 8 for flavor from Nick. I had a 7, so I guess that's fair. I think it's a really good flavor. Why didn't it score higher than a 7 on this one? The things that you just mentioned, right? First and foremost is I would like a little bit fuller body, and granted, not every cigar is supposed to be full bodied, but I would like it to be robust enough that I could pair this with food and drink and stuff like that without drowning out the stick, and I'd like a little more strength.
Yeah.
There's definitely not any kind of, there's almost no nicotine presence, it seems like, in the cigar, right? Yeah. I would like to see a little bit more of that, but the flavors are great, and I think everybody should try it for sure. So, got a 7 there, and let's move on to experience.
I had a good experience. I think that the smoking this at the appropriate time of year. I got up and it was 45 degrees this morning. There's football on all day.
Yeah.
I even think that adding the Stein with the beer would add to the experience even more.
Mm-hmm.
I give it an 8.
8 from Nick on experience. I had an 8 as well. And use case, absolutely. Football party, you bet. Backyard barbecue, you bet. Yard work, totally. You can do it. The price point is approachable enough that you can kind of do multiple stuff with this without flaking out. The flavor is, kind of light enough that you don't have to worry about eating first or drinking with it or exercising. Like I'm not doing yard work with a Padron 1964 anniversary, even in the tiny Principe, because it'll knock me on my ass.
Yep.
So there's a lot broader use case for this. There's some things that are out of bounds. I wouldn't use it as a dog walker necessarily. It's a little too large and nice for that. And I definitely wouldn't use it for any kind of celebration or something like that. But this is like a daily smoke that's enjoyable, affordable, approachable. And the Freestein thing is really cool, and it's collectible. So that brings our overall ranking to 39 for this Brickhouse Bricktoberfest, which is a pretty good score.
Very good score. Really, I have a really favorable impression of this cigar.
It's one I'm going to smoke again.
For sure.
I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Probably pair it with beer next time. Mm-hmm. See how that works out. Not doing beer at 8:00 on a Sunday morning.
We just do blackened whiskey.
Yeah. And then vomit afterwards. Don't tell anybody about that. But yeah, like the ash was great. I feel like the construction and the fact that it's a kind of like special, unique flavor, really added to it. Particularly at this price point. If we were ranking this and it was $15, I think, our numbers would be a little different. All right, that is all we've got this week for you on Burnline Podcast. Don't forget to hit us up, burnlinepodcast@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts, what you want us to smoke on the show, your wishes and desires. We will grant them to the best of our ability, except for winning that $1.5 billion Powerball or whatever. Can't help you with that. But for cigar stuff, let us know. Reach out. Don't forget Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever the hell it's called these days, Threads, and interact, and we will get you more of what you want, less of what you don't want for the least possible effort, because that's how Johnny Midas rolls. This is Johnny Midas and Nick the Brick signing off. Thank you all. See you next week.